Okay, we're recording.
We're recording. Here we go.
Yes,
First episode.
it's the first episode. Yep. Don't have to repeat everything each other says.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
All right. So, episode 1. Who killed your creativity? Kim.
Nobody.
No?
No.
Yeah.
I can't point to one moment where I lost it. Just getting older.
Yeah, right? I think that a lot of the people we follow, like Brene Brown, is our spirit
Yes.
teacher and guru.
Yes.
Yeah, spirit
Role
animals,
model,
not the right
hero.
thing.
I love you, Brene.
Among a lot of other people, right? A lot of people point to, or you hear that a lot of adults can point to moments in their life, very specific, like I was wearing my polka dot dress and I was in the 3rd grade when Mrs., whoever looked at my picture and said it was garbage and pointed to Joe's picture and said that he's a real artist. But we talked about it. I really...
Right. Neither of us have, fortunately, had that experience where someone really deterred us or even discouraged it, saying, like, stop wasting your time drawing. You should do math problems. Like, that never happened. I feel like my family was always kind of encouraging and really supportive. Like, everything I drew was amazing.
Yeah, I didn't get that, right? I wasn't like, I don't know. I'll say this. I feel like I knew from just about the beginning that showing people my art or something I've created, right? A story I wrote, or, look at this drawing, or me and my cousin would always put on shows and force all the parents to come watch them.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think I inherently knew that it was a vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? I always did it. I had no problem just doing it. I pushed through it when I was younger, but I always knew that I was putting myself out there. But we were just like, yeah, we're putting ourselves out there. We're going to do this thing.
Well, fair enough. My friend Cindy and I, when we were really little, it must have been before 3rd grade, we got this whole show together in her basement. And then I made my parents come over and they were all sitting in the living room. And I do remember I just froze and started crying. And we put it all together. We spent all day putting it together. And she was mad at me. But when it came time to actually do it in front of somebody, I completely froze up and I refused to do it. So maybe I killed my own creativity.
I think it's just an inherently difficult thing.
Yeah.
It's creating something new, something that, you've made with
Just
love.
yourself.
And showing it to the world and being like, what do you think about this thing?
Right. Judge this, please.
Yeah. So I don't think we needed anyone specifically to be like, you're terrible at, writing, or you're terrible at drawing pictures. Don't do it anymore. I don't remember that ever happening in school. I really don't.
No.
It sounds so horrific. But
I know. I'm happy I haven't had that life experience. That's awful.
Apparently, a lot of people have.
I guess so.
We'll consider ourselves lucky.
Maybe there was some sort of training for elementary school teachers somewhere in the early 80s that they were like, stop being assholes.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, my memory is so terrible. And I think that's part of it.
Maybe we blocked it out. Maybe there was something.
Maybe there were things. I mean, my family, I do not come from a family of artists, right? A family of people who are follow your dreams. That's certainly not.
I mean,
that's not the messaging.
We both come from working class, middle class,
right.
Get a fucking job.
Go to school and get a job. And, you want to major in English? Okay, whatever you want. Sure, we don't care.
Is that how your parents reacted to it?
But yeah, I don't even know if they really reacted.
Okay. But English isn't it's not fine arts or something that's very, you could be an English teacher. You could make a career out of that.
Yeah, and maybe it wasn't, I don't even think it was ever my parents. It's just cultural, the culture at large.
Yeah.
Right? There are specific majors and things that you're supposed to do that are practical and that will, you will get the regular life rewards, right? You get the job, you get the promotions, you climb the corporate ladder, right? So that you can make the money and buy the house and have the family. That was the whole point of college. And if you were going to college for any other reason, then you're silly.
Yeah, then it's a waste of money, a waste of time,
I feel
and
like
you're a silly person.
I definitely got that messaging, not from
Mhm.
anyone specific, but just like pop culture. You know, they're always like, oh, yeah, like liberal arts major.
Right.
You know,
There is, yeah,
there's a whole stigma in our culture.
higher education in the art.
Right.
Like, I majored in music. Like, I'm sure I've made fun of people that major in music and stuff,
Yeah.
but now they're like,
Theater and whatever.
you
Yeah.
know, performing in symphonies.
Yeah.
Something better than what I'm doing.
Yeah. There's no coroner's report for my creativity.
Right. Well said. I like that. No cause of death.
Yeah. It just,
Natural causes.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
most of us. Like,
I think so.
there
I don't know
are-
anybody that had, but I don't know that I've asked either, but
there are a small number of weirdos out there
yeah.
who were like, you know, fuck what everyone says. I'm just going to go and be creative, and I don't need any kind of cheerleader to do that.
The coolest kind of weirdos. The
Right.
best kind. We
Yeah.
mean that in a endearing way.
No, you're a bunch of weirdos. You're
You are
not like
weird.
anybody else.
Right. But it's a
And,
good thing.
yeah.
Like, I'd rather be that kind of weirdo.
Yeah, now you're following, you know, now you're just, and you're doing the thing that you want to do, and it doesn't, like, it's successful or it isn't, but you keep doing it
Right.
because it's what you want. And I don't know, I don't know if I was like a super creative kid. We just played, you know, you use your imagination, and then
You were
it-
very cool when you were little, though. You wore rings and purses in like 5th grade, and you were very
and that's what I feel like-
individualistic.
that's what I think that there was a time, like a shift, and it just comes with, you know, growing up, being a girl, we mature earlier, a lot earlier. And I just started thinking about other things, about being cool. Like, cool was important.
Yeah, but that's like your job in middle school is to find friends and like try and assimilate, maybe.
Exactly. And like, I used to doodle, and then like I would stop, like I stopped doodling, and I'd say it was probably all around middle school,
Mm-hmm.
going into high school, and then all the hormones start kicking in, and you know, and then it's boys. It's
Yes.
boys, and it's,
Yeah.
you know, dealing with the drama of being like a 13, 14-year-old girl.
Like you said, the hormones.
Yeah.
It's a
And
nightmare. You don't have
and-
time to be
yeah.
creative.
right. And yeah, exactly. And you're so caught up in your own self. You're
Mhm.
so self-important, and creativity doesn't really have room.
Times. I feel like there were like artsy kids,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Those
at least our
weirdos.
experience, yeah. We kind of started to focus on boys and going out and
yeah, and partying, like
our
going to
look.
your first party.
Right. Getting, obtaining, using drugs and alcohol.
Yep. Drinking and smoking weed.
Yeah.
Trying to be cool while
It was
doing
really time
both.
consuming. We had to like make up lies with our parents. We had to trade clothes. We had to get ready. It was very, very time consuming. You had to find somebody to go buy you beer, and it was never like,
And it was just
it was always a creepy person. So you had to like navigate that. Like, yeah. It's time consuming to be a self-absorbed teenager.
it is.
It is.
And so you kind of lose it. Like, you just, you know, I stopped.
It was never a priority to maintain.
Yeah, it really wasn't ever a thing that we did.
Yeah.
And then you get into college, and then it's like, no holds bars. Like, you're just so many drugs, so
Yeah, we
much
talked about
sex,
that.
like so much
I was, like,
drinking,
reading a lot.
drugs, sex. Like, you were reading.
I had to
I-
work a lot harder always in school. Like it just took me a lot longer to learn.
That's
I have,
really
like,
good for
ADHD
you.
or something. But
Because I dropped out.
Oh,
Like I just
yeah.
really
You
went
went a little nuts.
hardcore
yeah.
on, like, and that was it. And it was all, I think, part of like the fitting in, and
It's like your first taste of freedom. So it's like, I want to do all the things everyone told me not to do.
yeah. And I'm
Got it.
socially awkward. Like, and so that's part of it. Like the
You need that,
awkward,
like,
not,
lubrication of alcohol.
yeah.
drugs.
And the camaraderie of drugs. Like,
Mhm. It is
who-
a special bond.
yeah, it really was.
Does-
You know, you just make best friends with strangers immediately, and just spend, you know, hours.
And if
just
you're like
endless
high as shit, you
hours.
like bond.
Yeah, exactly. Just talking, like
Right.
talking about all your stuff, and it felt really nice in those moments to have those
Right.
bonds. And that was all I was like looking for, was that connection,
Mm.
and not really, like creativity took a back seat to that. Everything else took a back seat to that. And that was 3 years of my life. And then, then you come home and
Yeah, because you had to,
we both came home after
right.
school.
And, once it's done, it's like, okay, time to grow up, time to, I don't know, yeah, do all the things. Go get a job, go, get a car, get a place of your own. And we live in an insanely expensive area, so it's not super easy to save up money to get a house, a 600 square foot apartment for $1,500 a month when you're 22. So you just don't, you either have two jobs or you're, still out drinking. And because I carried on the drinking and
So you
drugs.
do both.
Like,
Yeah.
you went nuts in college and then got your shit together. I left college and then kind of lost my mind a little bit for a couple of years. My entire life imploded and fell apart. And, I think it's like the hierarchy of needs. You got to get your shit together before you have the time and space mentally and literally to engage in creative endeavors.
Yeah. You have to get over yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of true. Because you have to, okay, I feel the need to put this out there. I'm finally paying attention to that, to have some kind of creative expression. And maybe that is like the kind of, you lose that self-consciousness when you get older. Like, I don't really give a fuck what people, like, if everyone says this is terrible, and like, I don't know that it's going to like deeply wound me personally. I'm just going to be like,
I'm not sure how I'm going to react. Like,
yeah,
I'm super.
it's true. I say that now, like famous last words.
Yeah. It didn't occur to me that podcasting and like pretty much the whole of the internet was like an endeavor in creativity. But it's obvious to me now that it just kind of occurred to me, and like you're putting something new out into the world and asking people to look at it.
Right.
And, in general, you're getting feedback on it, right? Like that is a creative endeavor.
And kind of unsolicited feedback. You look at YouTube comments and it's just awful.
Well, in this whole thing, everything about it is unsolicited.
But you are kind of soliciting it by putting it on the internet for people.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't your private YouTube video.
Right. And nobody asked for this from us.
So. No one asked for this. It's true. No one was like, Kim and Jordan, you should do a podcast and videotape yourselves doing it.
I have since told a couple people, and they're like, oh, yeah, that'll be good.
What reactions have you gotten?
Just that. Like, oh, I think I've told like 3 people.
I've only told like 3 people. My mom was like, I would definitely listen to that. Thanks, Mom. Thanks. See, like, yeah. No one killed my creativity. My mom is like,
I think my mom might be the last person I tell. Like, she might just find out.
Well, that
someone
what
else.
happened with your blog, though? Remember, like, you wrote that one thing. It was really good. Everybody loved it. But your mom said, like, one supportive thing to you, and it, like, shut everything down.
It was so supportive. It was overly supportive. I feel like I've heard that about creative. The support can be just as hard as the criticisms.
And is it like how affirmations work, where you're, like, standing in the mirror, you're like, I'm great, and then you burst into tears because you know you're a garbage fire? Is it like that? Like, you're like, no, this is insincere because I'm obviously a horrible
I don't know what it was,
person.
But I stopped. I think
You did.
I was looking for an excuse. Because it was hard. It was
You were doing it all by yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm here now.
I know. Thank
to keep you going, and you'll keep me going.
This will be
I'm gonna do
good.
this.
Yeah.
Was that too much? Are you done?
No, I think we're
Want to
good.
leave?
No, I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Support from maybe anyone else is fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry, Mom. I love you so much. I really do.
Oh, it just occurred to me that your mom might listen to this.
Yeah, well, like, no, we'll deal with it.
I love you, Kim. Jordan's mom's name is Kim, but
yeah, it's a little weird.
we got in a lot of trouble when we were kids, and both of our parents blamed the other one. So it was rocky at first, but now they're stuck with us.
Yep. Well, they don't really, they are who they are, and they have nothing to do with our friendship. It's weird how much parents have to do with the friendships of their children as they're growing up. And I get it, right? Like, I have kids now, and I can't stand it. I like all their friends fine, but I can't stand some of the things that they pick up from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but that's
influence.
the whole thing. You can't.
Yeah, you're just like a combination of little things you pick up from everyone you meet.
Right. We can't control that as parents.
But you can control where they go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
to an
I
extent,
guess,
when
yeah,
you're little.
Like, if you have real shithead friends, I guess I would want to control that part. But we weren't real
Like once you get,
shitheads. Yeah, like
we
once
were
they get,
real shitheads.
I don't know. I
You
don't know.
threw up on a cop. We got caught shoplifting.
But like that's like we weren't that. I don't know.
I hit 2 buses.
We know the people who we hung out with.
Yes.
Who were
we made it out.
real shitheads.
Yes.
Like, and not
Oh,
by
we hung out
any
with- we
fault
really-
of their own, but their parents were just super absent and or there and terrible, and just like there were kids who I was like, I probably shouldn't be
No, we definitely
over
shouldn't
here
be hanging out with
hanging
them.
out with you. Like,
No, and hung out with much, much older men.
yeah.
And just like anybody that's
So,
19,
like,
20 years old and has 14-year-old girls at their party is probably not somebody that we should have ever been around. And we put ourselves in some really dangerous situations.
indeed we did.
A lot. But yeah,
It's-
dying to like be bad. We just
Ugh.
wanted to do hood rat shit all the time.
Who the fuck can be creative when you have so much stuff?
We're evading the law.
Yeah.
We're
We gotta
trying to
figure out,
maintain lies to our parents.
how do you drill a hole in this apple so that you can smoke weed out of
Yes,
it?
we had to fashion bongs.
We
like,
didn't use the internet
there
back
was a-
then. We
Yes,
just had
there
we
was no
weren't being
internet.
creative.
We were. Oh, that's true. What other creative?
We did all kinds of things with how to smoke weed. That
And sneak alcohol in. Like, remember
Yeah.
we brought vodka to 9th grade
yeah.
and
Yeah.
the sniper came?
Yes.
We got locked down in high school, but we had a full water bottle full of vodka. And someone had left like a full lunch there too, like a full-size party bag of chips and then like a 12-inch sub.
We were good.
And we all shared it and played drinking games. And
we had a
that
blast.
Amish like teacher, remember she cried all the time?
Being so bad, I don't.
She like
Kinda
wore
like-
like floor-length skirts and had like hair down to her butt. And she was very plain and soft. And Aaron would make her cry all the time, pulling the light bulb out of her overhead projector, which probably no one listening to this knows what that is.
Kids are terrible. Yeah.
Like, that lady didn't make any money, and we just tortured her because she was soft and wouldn't yell at us.
And she cried. Like,
Mhm.
watch this. I'm gonna make this chick cry.
I feel like I remember someone like, oh, she's crying. It was like funny.
We're all pointing and laughing now.
Yeah, we were dickheads and we were bad.
And that took up our whole time.
It did take a lot of time. And remember, like, getting rides, like, just trying to get somewhere was a nightmare. Like, that took forever.
And then the boys.
So many boys.
And
we
then,
weren't very slutty in high school.
no. College is where
Yeah.
really
Oh.
blossomed. Just so much.
blood-wise.
And then
Took advantage of the opportunity, and everyone else should too. College is like the very last time that you are going to have minimal responsibilities, be surrounded by people your own age, be young. It's the hottest you're ever going to be. Get that dick.
yeah,
Do
kind
it.
of.
Do the drugs,
Do it.
have the sex. Just
Kind of.
go to class too.
So
Learn some shit.
here's what I struggle with now, right? Is, some of the one night
Regret.
stands.
Yeah.
So yeah, regrets and like,
Absolutely.
so I went through all that, like the phase from late middle school all the way through my mid 20s.
No.
Yes.
Mid-20s. Like 20.
I didn't stop until I was like 27 when I got pregnant.
You weren't.
We just drank. Sometimes I just like the
We
drinking.
drank a lot,
The
yeah.
excessive drinking was like
Yes.
it's shattering, and then like the fights, the drunken,
Oh,
embarrassing fights with
Oh,
your
my-
boyfriend, and the I'm moving out, and like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
No, we've all been
plenty,
there.
plenty in my mid 20s to
Oh
like
my
not be
God.
proud of. Right, like I got my second DUI by crashing my car when I was 25.
Yeah.
Like
But you were bartending at that point.
right, I was still
That's
I
when,
was
like-
drinking, I was partying,
Like Adderall and like,
yeah,
you can't work in the restaurant industry without being a little fucked up all the time.
it is tough because everyone else
Not
is doing
conducive
it.
to sobriety
Yeah.
at all. And people want to do shots with the bartender and like you're hot.
I
So like,
desperately want to do shots with them.
yes,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
part of the job.
just so drunk all the time. But that's
Sure.
okay. Like, that's what I'm saying, right? Late middle school to mid 20s. That's a huge chunk of our relatively short lives.
Thus far.
Thus
In the
far.
grand scheme of things. But I feel like that's kind of typical. I don't know. Is it? But I don't think it is though. Because remember, like I was the drug expert at work. Like nobody knew anything. Like people would ask me, like, does cocaine make you go to sleep or does it wake you up? Like, how do you not even know that? I did that jail application and I was completely honest about all the drugs. Do you think this is okay? Like, yeah.
I felt like being honest was.
I was like, well, no, but like, I think honesty is important. And I think it makes me a better social worker because I do understand, like, I don't have to Google, like, what are the signs someone's high on cocaine? Like,
there you go.
I can look at you.
Better at your job.
That's what I said. And it makes me, I don't know, I think it makes me a better social worker.
I will say this. It's killed a lot of my brain cells. I
Fuck
think
yeah.
much of this podcast will be me saying, I don't remember that because I
Right.
don't remember anything.
It happens to me. Like, and things that when people tell me about them, it seems like it would be something that I should remember. And I'm not even sure that I was like under the influence when that thing happened, but I
Is
can't.
it just that our brain cells have just been
I'm
just
trying to remember
slaughtered?
like where your car is. I have to
Yeah.
get rid of this memory because there's not enough of us to go around.
They just like mass murder.
Yep.
It's
Oh
just-
yeah. But I mean,
and not
Whatever.
but I feel like I really wasn't doing enough drugs. Like at the
me
time.
too. Me
At the
too.
time I was like, there are people who are doing a lot more drugs than I am. Like,
And I still have stuff on my list I wanted to try.
yep.
But I was like kind of scared. But then when I did acid the other day, I was like, why was I so scared to do all these drugs? Like I should have just done them. Heroin I still probably don't want to fuck with, and crack because I love
Yeah.
like
Smoking crack is never. It's not on my list. It wasn't like
I was just
I
scared of it.
really
I
wanna
thought I'd
smoke-
like it too.
yeah. Well, crack was whack. That was still a thing for us.
Yeah, I mean crackhead, like it has
Yeah.
a really horrible connotation
Negative
and stigma.
connotation.
Like cocaine's kind of fun.
Yep.
Heroin
Everyone
has a really bad stigma.
everyone was having fun who was doing cocaine.
Ecstasy super fun.
Yeah.
And for young people, that's Molly.
Yeah. Well, it's
It's
two
the same
two
thing.
different things. Or at least that's what they always told me whenever like, oh no, this is Molly.
It's still MDMA, but I think Molly's more pure. And I think ecstasy, remember, because
Mixed with all kinds. You
yeah,
never know what you're
sometimes
getting
you'd be
with
like
ecstasy.
real up, and
Yeah.
sometimes you'd be real down. So it was like, oh, that one was cut with heroin. That one was cut with
Yeah.
cocaine
Never know what you're getting.
or aspirin.
And nowadays, I think they're all just doing the prescription drugs. Kids these days.
Yeah. But especially with like Oxycontin, it's harder to get. So everybody's
Yeah.
doing heroin because it's cheaper and it's easier to get.
And it's all the same shit anyways.
It is. Just like Adderall's government cocaine, Oxycontin is government heroin.
So I think
This took a weird turn.
not really.
Okay.
Because I think it points to like, dude, we were
What killed our
trying to
creativity?
kill our like we were actively trying to kill our creativity
I
because
think we were both
creativity-
that's all drugs is self-medicating. You're
Yeah.
like you're trying to numb yourself. You're trying to like dull aspects of your personality
to fit in and to
be cool
Yeah.
and sometimes, just not feel anything and just be
and
we were hardcore on that pursuit.
yeah.
Like we both have hardcore self-destructive. You not so much anymore. You've grown out of
Tendencies,
it.
yeah.
I seem to have I'm just in a plateau of like I'm never gonna quit smoking. And they can probably hear it in my voice. Like I feel like I'm Marge Simpson's sister. Patty and Selma. That's what I sound like.
I don't know. I mean, I had kids and then I got pregnant and
But
then
that's
I
a really
basically
important part.
stopped. Yeah.
Good.
And I didn't even really I didn't just recently I've have stopped drinking. Kind of just it was in the last 2 years. I wasn't with my kids drinking to in college, but I would drink. I'd be like, oh, it's a hard day at work. I need to, I do that
Right.
whole we need wine to wind down and get just recently I decided to try and stop. And then I kind of did. I still have a drink occasionally, but it's not like it was. And I think that creativity is a pretty sacred pursuit,
Mhm.
right? Whenever I do drink or take any drugs or anything like that, like my whole deal becomes that. I can't do
Mhm.
anything else except for like I just never want the party to end.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't really stop that until recently, and now we're doing this, right? Like we're going to attempt a creative endeavor, and maybe we just wonder if that's probably a relatively standard trajectory of someone's life. There's probably a bunch of people out there who have gone through the same milestones.
It would be nice to hear. Like, if anybody,
Let us know.
please, that we're not alone and that we single-handedly destroyed our own creativity.
Did you just slowly drown your
Right.
creativity and
Suffocated.
in drugs and alcohol and
Sex. And
shaming sex?
yeah.
Like,
Yep. Yep. Did you? We want to hear about it.
please comment below.
Yeah. We just want to commiserate.
But now we're here. We're in our mid-30s. And I hear that 40 is like the age where everything starts clicking. But for us, I feel like 30 is where it's happening. We're getting
Maybe
there
for
at
you.
least. I don't know.
My life's still a shit show.
I don't think your life is a shit show.
I'm not like adulting properly.
At this house, we are recording from Kim's 2-bedroom house. 2-bedroom, 3 bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Two
good.
and a half. But
Yeah,
still,
true.
but I'm single. I've been single for a long time too.
Yeah. Got some.
I don't have any kids. Jordan is married with kids and her house and her job. And like she's the brains of this whole operation. I'm just kind of sitting here.
I don't think that's true.
I think it's probably true. I mean, I'm doing better than I have, certainly.
Right?
Pulled myself out of some bad situations and I'm doing okay. I'm just not as like adulty, I guess.
Maybe not.
I
when
haven't reached a
you-
point like, oh, I've accomplished everything I want. And now like I'm kind of what else should I do? It's more like I still got like stuff I need to figure out. And like, I don't know. I like my job now, but I still need to figure out that whole work-life balance thing. Because I wasted my entire 20s on that fucking job.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Kim is a social worker, but was in child protective services, and that shit was brutal.
it just consumed all of my, like, this would have never been possible. Like, you just wouldn't have the mental space to even, it would just been too overwhelming. Like, okay, I gotta like record something. I gotta think of things. Like, I don't have time for that. I've gotta go.
No, you have no mental space. You have
Right.
not enough room for any like love.
Right. And I think that's part of maybe why we're doing it now at this point, because things have leveled out. Like we can pay our bills every month. We can, there's no drama or stress to like,
Yeah.
it's just everyday stuff. So we have the mental space to be able to think about creativity and things like that.
Yeah. Think about it, like work on ourselves, right? We're
Right.
at that place where we're trying to work on ourselves
Right.
and be better. And that was not anything I was doing, let's say, 15 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I concur. That was not on the list. But like, do better is definitely on the list. Just like be a better.
Yeah, like maybe
Okay.
look at some of the neuroses and like
Mhm.
think about how you might be able to like iron those out,
Right.
right? Like,
Stop getting in your own way. And
Yeah.
just be a happier person. But I guess on some level, we must be creative people because both of us feel like a creative endeavor is worthwhile enough that it will like make us better humans, like make you a better mom, make you a
Yeah.
better wife, me a better dog mom and social worker,
better
people in general.
happier, more joy.
Yeah. And happy people tend to spread that around and be better people. Miserable people are fucking miserable to everyone and they make everyone miserable.
Yeah. And they are like, you multiply it in your own life.
Mhm.
I think that I recently also had a realization that maybe we're thinking about creativity in the wrong way. Because when we talk about creative endeavors, especially I would say, 4 weeks ago, I
Mm-hmm.
would have been like, yeah, like, writing stories or
Mm-hmm.
painting something or crafting,
Right.
like that's creativity. But then Elizabeth Gilbert, who I love, um, she has a definition of creative living, which I just came across in the last couple of weeks, is choosing a creative life is one where you choose curiosity over fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about finding your passion. It's not about having a calling. It's not about
Which is
any
all
of,
very vague,
yeah,
and I feel like puts pressure on you
to be really, to know what it is that you're looking for, know what it is that you want to do. Like we never knew what we wanted to do.
and because there is tremendous pressure. I think I knew I wanted to be a social worker, but then everybody told me social workers don't make any money. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to make any money. There's no point in going to college for something you're not going to make any money for, and beat it out of me. So yeah, I kind of floundered after that, after you let the world beat you. The
Mm-hmm.
fear, and it was fear of like, shit, maybe they're right.
Right. I have to make money.
Yeah. And then came out with my political science degree from Salisbury University. Turns out not super lucrative, and went back to it once I got over that. Like, fine, I won't make any money, but it's something I want to do.
Right. Curiosity over fear.
Right.
There it is.
And I was thinking about that when you
Yeah, that's a
mentioned last
moment
night.
of creative living. Just turning your head, she says, like you just turn your head a quarter of an inch at something that interests you, and you follow that for a little bit, and you just do that consistently. And that's definitely what this is.
Yeah,
Our
pretty much.
podcast here. It is
Right.
a endeavor in curiosity.
Right.
So here we are,
Here we are.
building a creative life. And it feels
Yeah.
good. Like I felt really good in the last few weeks,
Me too.
last 2 months probably, that we've been talking about this. And kind of like, okay, I guess we are going to do it. All right. And then, ironing out some of the details, coming up with like what it is we're actually going to talk about. And
The
it
structure of
feels,
it. There's a lot of work that goes into this. Surprisingly, it might not seem like that.
and there's a lot of fear for me.
Yeah,
There's been a ton
definitely.
of fear, like a ton of just that little voice in your head. Like you don't have, like, you can't do this. You don't have the time. You don't have the, you're not going to be able to figure it out. You're not going to be able to make it work. Just, I mean, any number of things, really. Like, my fear will get on top of me real
Right.
fast.
Right.
But we're choosing. Fear is always going to be there.
Mhm.
They go hand in hand. Like, creativity and fear. You're never going to not have those two in the same room when
I
you're
think if
making
you
something
are, then
new.
or if you don't, then you're doing it wrong.
Right. You're a crazy person. If you're like,
Just
have no
psycho.
fear. Yeah.
This is great.
Right. Yeah. No, everything's good about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is the best thing that's ever happened.
Right.
I have not felt that. So,
I think we need a little bit of,
but I've had moments, right? Like I've had moments. I don't feel like listeners that we are the best thing that has ever happened to you.
no,
But
we definitely won't be.
For us, I feel like this is a really good thing that's happening for me.
Right. I do too. It's been a while since I was like excited about anything, and it just reinforces that I'm opening this new chapter of my life. Like, new job, have the space, have the time to think about stuff that, that's uplifting and happy and not soul crushing all the time.
Right.
So I'm excited.
That's it.
Excited to invite good energy.
So, yeah. No one killed our creativity.
We did.
It's just been lying dormant within us, waiting for like a spell long enough where we weren't elbow deep in a pile of drugs.
It's been passed out.
Yeah. It's been passed out.
Yeah.
In the back
smelling
room,
salts.
naked on the floor
yes,
in the bathroom.
Naked on the floor. Face up. Sprawled out.
Yeah.
Maybe crying.
Wet towel on the forehead.
Or the back of the neck is helpful too. Just an FYI for everybody.
Turn on your side.
Or in the shower in your clothes. That
was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Welcome back.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Hope everybody listens to this.
Mostly just our family.